my sweet friends. I have a very delicious recipe for you today. It is called Mexican squash with cheese. You're going to love it. For today's recipe, you're going to need some oil. I am using canola oil. You're going to need about 6 to 8 small green squash. You're going to need a half to 3/4 of an onion. You're also going to need about 3 small tomatoes, 1 can of corn, some chicken bouillon, and 1 cup of water. You're also going to need some shredded cheese of your choice. I like cheddar cheese. And some garlic, about a teaspoon of garlic. Okay, first of all, we're going to go ahead and kind of give our squash a little rinse and kind of scrub it a little bit. I'm doing it with one hand at the time, but I did scrub them right. Okay, our next step is to cut our squash, and I'm just going to do it in small cubes, about an inch big, around there. We don't want them too big, that way they won't take too long cooking. This recipe is great for children. It has so many vegetables, so many vitamins and minerals, but they will never know because it is so cheesy and so yummy and so full of flavor. We're also going to go ahead and cut our onion and our tomatoes into small little pieces. It is up to you. You can make them as big or as small as you want. Usually I try to make them very small so my kids won't detect them and they'll eat the food. Now I'm just opening my can of corn and I'm going to drain it and have it ready for me to use. So now I just add a little bit of oil to my pot, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add my green squash. After I add my squash, I'm gonna go ahead and add my onion, my tomato, and my corn. Now I'm just adding 1 cup of water, and then I'm gonna go ahead and stir everything together. Now I'm just gonna add my chicken bouillon. I added about 2 tablespoons. I'm just gonna stir everything together again, and then I'm gonna go ahead and cover it and let it boil. Once your squash starts to boil, go ahead and add a teaspoon of garlic, and then go ahead and stir. This will be the last time we'll be stirring. We're gonna go ahead and cover it, and we're gonna let it cook for about 10 to 15 minutes until our squash is nice and soft. After 15 minutes, go ahead and get a fork and start poking at your squash just to check that it's tender enough and that it's ready. If it is pretty tender, then your squash is ready. And the last step is just to go ahead and add the cheese. I'm just turning off my stove now. And then we go ahead and add our delicious shredded cheese. I add about 2 cups, sometimes even more. Go ahead and cover your squash for maybe about 5 minutes. That way the cheese can go ahead and melt. And our delicious Mexican squash with cheese is ready. You can serve it as a side dish or you can just have it as a soup. I paired my squash today with some Milanesa and oh my goodness, it was delicious. The combination was amazing. My family loved it and I think I'm going to be doing this more often. Milanesa and Mexican squash go perfectly. If it's not cheesy enough, you can go ahead and add a little bit of more shredded cheese on the top, just for a garnish. This Mexican squash turned out so delicious. You have to try this recipe. It was so cheesy and so full of flavor. Thank you so much for being with me today. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up and go ahead and subscribe. And just remember to try something new every day. Bye-bye.
Why am I like this? Something's always amiss. Can't put my finger on it, but it's there.